Blank and John Allen, where do you want the zone to go?
Where do I want the zone to go? I mean, that's always a difficult question. In terms of excitement, I mean, military islands are always fun, but we've seen quite a few of those now. We even had a back-to-back one. I mean, we nearly had a Zaki circle, so that could be quite interesting to go back on towards. Nearly a Lipovka circle. I feel like we've been treated to some decent circle situations, but no Yaz fields. We did have a little bit. No, that was out on the western fields by hospital. Yeah, Yaz fields. Let's go. Let's be mean. Yaz field.
Mountain finish. Funny. Very good.
Yes.
Top performance here on the map, though. Silas, Wild, and Zedwolf. Loxy not being in there is kind of strange, despite most of the insane clutches we've seen on Erangel have come through from Loxy on Regnum Kaya. But easily head and shoulders above the rest right now is this team. Up towards Severny, playing path is very central this game, so real easy to spread out across the map. We'll wait and see where this circle does end up, though, and see if we do get one of those funny circles. Real good times.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know what? Sometimes it is about those good times. If we're going up north, it does put a lot of water into this zone blank. It's likely we're going to see some fast rotates coming on through from our teams down towards the south, getting up towards those shooting range hills, skirting around Stalbert as well. For Weibo, that's maybe good news here, maybe not, depending on who they come into contact with. Disappointed the nuclear zone have moved away from Milton Power. They have been generally disappointing, I think it's safe to say, over the course of the matches so far in this group. But going away from the nuclear reactor in Milton Power, that's the most disappointing thing about them right now.
You know it's bad when John uses the word generally? That's everything, right? It's not no particular thing. It's just everything is not great right now. I would agree. John. I actually would agree. We're told we're getting an interview. Oh, I thought it was with VP. I did think it was with VP there for a second. I'm very excited.
It might be.
I hope it is.
It might still well be, but there's a little. I think we're on board with this because Havlik is a little bit back and forth with Lil Boy. I think just get away from there. If you can find a vehicle, yeah, he's got a vehicle. This is definitely a get out of town situation for Boars. They're on the 12th place position right now. You can't afford to be taking some interesting fights like that. Don't overcommit when you know there's weaponry inbound. But I believe the interview we have is with a player from VP Blank.
Oh, so we get to finally figure out what happened. Why? Please tell us. So curious. But we're going to head over to the stage now with Seven to deduce exactly what did go wrong on that rondo, or what was meant to go incredibly right.
Yeah, we'll see. Head over to the guys on the stage.
Welcome to a quick report with the 7WG. John Blank, you asked me a question. If I could get it for you, I'm going to get it for you right now because I got Aragon from BP. Why did you end up nading yourself? 3 players to be exact in Rondo.
Так, на карте Рондо, почему вы взорвали себя?
Но у нас была тактика играть один лонгардена, и чтобы не терять тайминги, мы просто взорвали себя. Потому что если бы мы поехали дальше искать, это было бы очень много времени.
So we have a tactic, so we didn't want to lose the timings, and if we will continue to go, we'll just lose the timing. So that's why we named ourselves.
Okay, well, hey, that makes total sense. A tactical decision to be able to do it. Now, talking about tactical decisions that you might have to make during the day, you're currently 18 points away from 11th place. If that starts getting a little bit further away, are you willing to hunt down 11th place to stop them from getting points?
Так, сейчас ваша команда на 18 поинтов от 11 места. Будете ли вы охотиться на других команд до 11 места, чтобы ворваться? Или 11 место, кто сейчас находится?
Ну, еще есть очень много матчей до конца, поэтому как пойдет. Если будет мало поинтов, и нам нужно будет руинить, то мы будем руинить. Мы готовы на все, чтобы пройти.
We have a lot of matches now, and we'll see what happens. But if we're gonna lose, we're gonna fail, we'll just try to win them and get less chance. Yes, sort of less chance.
This is why I like this team, because I know they'll pull through. Spasiba, Eragon. Back to y'all. Thank you.
All right. Well, I mean, that's good to know, but it highlights, I think, a little bit of a weakness potentially in VP, right? If they don't have the ability to adapt to having to go to a different place on Rondo, that's not great. I think that's not the sort of thing that you can really be relying on. Sure, it's a new map, so your strat book maybe isn't padded out in the same way as on Miramar and Erangel, but I mean, yeah, in my mind, it's not that. It's not a real confidence booster in their performance.
John! Hello!
Yes? Hello?
I was waiting for you to get that one out. God damn.
I know. Hey, look. Can I have a necromancer, please? Because I'm dead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Can you necromancer me, please?
I'll rise, John, rise. But yeah, I think honestly, your point was good though, and I think that it is important to think about a little bit, because I think for VP, I think the key word for me there was the timings were wrong. So it sounds like to me that VP has like a very rigorous playbook. That's not always the best thing. And I think you're right. If you can't play outside of the norm, then you don't get into those late game situations where you're able to pick up a chicken dinner that comes off from an odd rotation or an interesting start to your game. I mean, there's situations where you're able to cut out two teams from the Western side off of some fortuitous fights. At that point, you need to start controlling a lot of area. But for VP, that sounds more like they just continue with their original plan, which I think needs to change. And it does explain a lot of why VP looks so great towards these end games. Because if everything has gone right up until the 24th minute, then they'll let off the leash a little bit. And they can play a little bit more freeform, and that's where they can close out the game strong. But I think, hoping that your plan goes correctly all the way up towards the end is the wrong idea, because it's the age-old sentiment of, fail to plan to fail. But if you prepare a plan and don't prepare for that plan to fail, you're equally going to lose out. So, yeah, I think VP needs to have a little bit more freedom to make plays in that mid-game.
Yeah, you can't be relying on just the single strat, because sometimes it's just not going to be realistic. And I mean, we saw them say, "Oh, we really wanted to stick to our strat. We thought it was really good." Well, they didn't do that well in Rondo. They didn't get very far at all. So maybe needs further rethinking there on that front. Let's hop over to the North Shooting Range Hills, though, because teams now have started to group up. Blank. We're on Geek on those Shooting Range Hills. They've got Nuclear Zone, who started all the way up north, very close to them, and further north than that, you've got DRX out to the west side of Severny, as it looks like we've only got a few teams yet to cross the river, but Influence Rage and E-Arena, two teams that we praised during day one and to an extent during day two as always surviving into those later stages of the game, playing edge out on that west side.
Yeah, 100%. No, you're so right there. And between DRX as well as E-Arena, I think that they are some of our best edge teams so far, because there is this real, to me at least, I don't know if you'd agree, but I think that there is that real dichotomy between E-Arena, DRX, and then Weibo and Regnum Kai. It's like your two top central teams and your two top edge teams. And I think that they're sort of playing the best out of our squads. And then you got Flash. And Flash is a weird one, because I think they play a little bit of both.
Yeah. Well, being adaptable in a lobby like this where, as we've said, a lot slower, although today things may be on for a little bit of a change if Rondo's anything to go by, a higher elimination count there that we've seen from them in the previous 2 days. So maybe a little bit more dynamism in this one, but being adaptable certainly has served Team Flash well so far. And right now, they hold the mantle of third place with Regenkaya and DRX starting to really stretch their legs here in towards the lead and getting into the sort of territory where they're guaranteeing themselves into those top spots, into those top three. The bubble in the previous group was 131, I believe. Regenkaya very close to that already. Anywhere over 140, good news. Anywhere over 150, you can already start planning your trip. It's what you're going to see over in Bangkok, because it's very likely that you're going to be heading there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's happy days if you hit 150. But for Regnum Car, yeah, currently down towards the south side. They did make that crossing a little bit earlier. They're going for a 2-2 split again. One of the few teams actually we're seeing take these splits early. I think Weibo was trying to go for it before. Unfortunately for them, some of those splits just have not worked out, or they've not had the firepower to rebuff some of the squads. I don't really know how True Rippers are able just to remove this, honestly, but they did. The Flash was like, we don't want anything to do with that anymore.
That's what I was owing. I mean, like, interesting. I guess you don't want to stand off there. You just want to regroup with, teams are going to be smashing further forwards north, but you want to hold it out and not really wanted to fully commit to that side. You say, what's not worth it even holding it, but True Rippers, they're just not going to let them go. Oh, they're like a dog with a bone on this one. Blank Bose does get rest. Hydro and Jelly sail on in, but they realize that the time has ticked away a little bit on that opportunity.
Southwest side, if they get ahead of it. And I think that's what in their head we're like, well, there's going to be quite a few teams that haven't quite made it here yet, so let's just push the advantage right now. And I think that Weibo's going to be a little bit surprised by Flash being here, actually, because they're sending down nice and early. With Influence Rage just chasing them, trying to pin the tail on the Weibos.
They are maybe find a shot through. Alliance chiming in towards Stuke, and Weibo didn't have the greatest presence in those final circles. They did decently, and they are pretty close towards that boundary, and they want to hold on to it as well. Hero now the last to stand, losing his teammates. Order very, very close to going down as well. ETSH wants to find more. They're getting the knocks, they're getting those flushes. Hero still with a last stand, and he holds off for one more, but his teammates are bleeding, and Order still not going to be up in an action, needs to get across fast. ETSH, they crash a lot of their players in, and they're left only as one as well.
Yeah, I mean, for ETSH, a little bit of an awkward push there. Order's definitely going down. Hero does the right thing just to try and hold the fort down. Try and make this one work. Quick spray. Won't quite find it, and Jimmy will finish off Order. One thing I will say is I think Order's been a little unimpressive this tournament so far. They had the refrag there, so everything's fine. Yeah, I think Order's been a little bit unimpressive. I'm sad to see. I really like that guy. I think he's a strong player, but here it's sort of felt like Tetch from Ulf. Yeah, I mean, he has his off tournaments, and he has his tournaments where you're like, oh my, this guy's godly. So yeah, I'm a little confused.
Quite a few powerful players over the course of PUBG Mobile's history. It is just the way of things. Sometimes you have an off year, sometimes you have an off week, and you can't really afford for that to be at PMGC if you want to keep things going. But for Weibo, they're still up in 5th place. They're still 4 points behind 3rd place. They're direct qualification spots, so it's not like they're dragging their feet on that front for now, but we are comparing them to past performance, which maybe is unfair, maybe not. It is a bit of a confusing lobby after all on this group. Things have changed. When you add Rondo into the mix, it gets all the weirder. The Boars.
Ooh, circle heads down towards the southeast here. Burmese Ghouls do grab themselves a location on the eastern side, but for how long will that stay in play? For Lions as well, they need to. For Regnum Kaya, they're going to get a move on. Influence Rage will be in front of them. Weibo still. time is coming to an end.
It would seem so. Crawling out to the outside, and actually the Boars try and step on the in. Tops immediately into the fight, and he's going to put him back down, and that is the end of Team Flash.
It's good play from True Rip as well. I really like this. You know, this time I like the slow approach. You see that Regnum Kai is also pushing in, so you don't want to go for this engagement, but you slowly pull yourself further down towards the south side. You gain more control over towards this area, and you can get a shoe in, because eventually Regnum Kai is going to have to push something, and True Rippers is going to be ready when that does come through. So this actually was a nice play from True Rippers. I respected the discipline on that. Arcred just have a really nice spot to play out the rest of their game. Some teams would maybe rather be down towards the south side so they can play out those ridges when it comes to the late game. But that does require the circle to push south as well. So it's definitely not a fun one here.